Hello and welcome, my name is Akira and this is my new Let's Play series of the new expansion for Europa Universalis IV Mare Nostrum. This will be a tutorial style Let's Play, which means that I'll spend a bit more time explaining the different mechanics of the game, and especially early on that will probably mean that the game goes a little bit slower, but hopefully it also means that I can help you to learn how to play this game better. As I said, we're going to play as the Ottomans, because it's one of my favorite empires. They have a lot of nice bonuses to expansion. And during this series, I will show you how to gain the Sultan of Rum achievement. I've already gotten this myself, but it's a pretty neat achievement. And I will try to go for the over 1,000 achievement, which is to get more than 1,001 provinces. So, let's dive into it. We'll of course be doing Iron Man mode so we can get achievements. Over 1,000! Start Iron Man. Okay, so let's check out the new stuff. We can already see something here that our corruption is growing for some reason. And it's growing because we have low religious unity. Interesting. Anyway, let's just check out all the different starting things like usual. First of all, we have 2 armies already, as well as a top of fleets. We have some trade ships here. We have some galleys and we have some transports. Let's check out the trade map mode so we can set out those ships. For some reason my shortcuts aren't working. Maybe it's because I'm playing in without mode, I don't know. Anyway, so we are already sending forth trade from Alexandria and from Aleppo. And we are collecting by default in our home province. Trade works in these different trade regions, and the region where your capital is, you will be automatically collecting. You can also change this by moving your trade capital, which you would do by pressing this button in some other province. So if I was to move my trade capital later on, maybe down here to Aleppo. I don't think I have much territory outside of, but I do have something recruited, so I could now move my trade capital, but I would need 200 diplomatic points. Anyway, our trade capital is in Constantinople, and we are pushing trade forth from the Alexandria and from the Aleppo trade nodes. And it seems like the Alexandria trade node is more rich. You can see down here how much gold is actually in the trade node. This only shows how much gold is in the trade node, but then you have to add on the amount of gold that's being pushed forward here. You can see that we are right now pushing 2.6 gold forward. Up here we are pushing 1.5 gold forward. It all goes into Constantinople trade node. You can see we have about 50% of the trade power here. So we can choose to either send our trade ships to protect the trade in Constantinople, in Aleppo, or in Alexandria. If we send them to Constantinople, it would help us get a bigger part of this cake. Whereas if you send them to one of the other trade nodes, it will help pushing trade along. One thing to note is that the game is kind of built in a way so that it's easier to push trade along than it is to just collect it. So you get more out of pushing trade into your trade node than you get for keeping your guys in the trade node. So let's send them to the richest node, which was Alexandria. And here we run into the first new thing in the Mare Nostrum expansion, namely the sea missions. If you've played the game before this expansion, you'll know that there used to be a bunch of buttons up here where you could protect trade or do a bunch of other stuff, and that has all been consolidated down to this select missions button. And then you see here a list of all the different missions you can do. There's protect trade like usually. There's privateering, where you can send out your ships to ruin trade from other empires. There is hunt pirates, where you can send your ships out to hunt for pirates from other empires. You can send them on exploration missions if you have a explorer. You can hunt enemy fleets. This is a new one. And you can blockade enemy forts, and you can intercept enemy fleets. The precise difference between these two I don't know yet. It seems like it's just a difference on the focus, where this one will try to hunt weak fleets, and this one will mostly try to keep them away from your land territory. And then of course there's also an added mission to blockade enemy ports, and this can be done. This will help you out blockade ports, and at the same time your ships will try to evade enemy ships. These things work in regions, sea regions, and as you can see here, this whole region here, the Mediterranean, is one big region, and it's colored green, as you can see. And other regions have other colors, although we don't really know that many other sea regions at this point. But if we were to send them to the Mediterranean, they would be patrolling all of this huge territory. We don't want to do that, however. We want to send them to protect trade, so let's do that. We are going to send them down to Alexandria. I'll set them down, and first thing is done. Then let's look at our rivals. You can see we already have 4 rivals, or 4 other empires that have rivaled us. It's Byzantium, which is here. It's Hungary, our friendly neighbor over here. We have Lithuania, our other friendly neighbor over here. And the Mamluks down here in Africa and Egypt. But we also have to set rivals ourselves. Rivals are either other empires who are the same, about the same size or bigger than you, and they also have to be near you. Alternatively, it's other empires who are weaker than you but have set you as rivals. That means that, for example, Byzantium is obviously weaker than us, but because he don't really have other empires close to him, he has set us as a rival. So we can rival him back. And he has some really juicy land, so let's just do that. Selecting a rival gives certain bonuses. I'm not sure if you can probably see them here, yeah? You get an easier time of getting alliances with the enemies. You get more prestige from defeating them in battle. You get no trade efficiency penalty if you're embargoing their trade. We'll talk about that later. You get extra spy network construction against them. This used to be extra core creation cost, but in this expansion they changed how spies work. We'll also be getting back to this. And then finally, you get a 33% discount on demanding provinces from them in a peace deal. So all of these means that like your rivals are primarily other empires that you want to take land from. That's where the biggest bonuses help. So we want to take this land, so we are gonna choose Byzantium. Then we're gonna take, let's see. We want to preferably take people who are close to us that we are able to go to war with pretty soon. I think I usually end up going to war with this country. I can't really pronounce it, but it's just called QQ in common tongues. Karakayunlu or something like that. So they might be an interesting rival. Later on, we are definitely going to rival the Timurids. But as you can see, there's a lot of land between us and them right now, so there's no real reason to spend a rivalry slot on them yet. Rivals can be changed out after a certain period. I can't remember, and it doesn't say here, but there's like a cooldown on changing your rivals. But if you either fully annex your rival, or if they become too small compared to you, then you can eclipse them and you will get your rival slot back. So, let's see. Venice is a good rival to start with because they have a lot of these small islands around here. Then of course Genoa is a nice rival. They also have an island here as well as these territories here. So I think I'm gonna choose Genoa for my second rival slot, and then the third one. I'm not really sure. Probably. Yeah, we'll just take QQ, and we'll get the Byzantium slot back soon enough, so we can worry about the last one after that. Okay, so that's rivals sorted. Rivals give power projection, and power projection is like a measure of how powerful your country is in relations to your neighboring countries. It is a bit misleading because when you become large enough, you will have no valid rivals due to everyone being too small compared to you, and thus you kind of end up not having any power projection even though you're the most powerful guy around. So it's a bit misleading, but it makes sense for the most part. What can you get out of power projection then, you ask? Well, as you can see, you get global trade power, morale of armies, morale of navies, prestige, fort defense, and legitimacy out of power projection. Beyond that, if you have more than 25 points, you get a free leader slot. And if you have more than 50 power projection points, you get one of each type of monarch points. So having high power projection is really nice because it gives you a lot of nice advantages in the game. You also can see here how you gain power projection. You get it from, first of all, you can get up to 15 for having long-time rivals, 5 for each of your rivals, having them for, I guess it's 4 years or something like that. Then you can gain power projection for going to war, for taking provinces or vassalizing them, for insulting or humiliating. Then you can support rebels in their lands, and you can embargo their merchants. That's the different ways you can gain power protection. So, with that in mind, let's embargo our rivals. Let's just open all of these menus up. Of course, if you, it's a long time since you've been playing this game. In a couple of patches ago, they changed this system so that it now saves which options you have opened, and I just like having them all open. Anyway, we want to embargo Byzantium. We want to embargo QQ. And do we want to embargo Genoa? Okay, next step, let's look at our advisors. So, this is a good point to explain Monarch points. Monarch points is gained each month based on 3 different things. First of all, or mainly 3 different things. First of all, your ruler gives certain points. As you can see, we have a pretty good ruler. Rulers have stats in administrative, diplomatic, and military, which range from 0 to 6. So having a 5-5-6 is a pretty awesome ruler to start with. Furthermore, we gain a base of 3 points in each type, and we can hire advisors that get extra points. Then on top of that, we can choose to specialize our country. Right now, we start out with a specialty in military power. That means that we take 1 point from both diplomatic and administrative and put it into military instead. I don't want to have this because I know that we're going to be using a lot of administrative points early on, both because I like administrative ideas and also because they are needed to core the land that you conquer from your neighbors. So let's change this right away. Also, let's see if we can hire some advisors. Advisors cost money. There are 3 different types of them, of course, one corresponding to administrative, diplomatic, and military. The administrative ones give certain bonuses each. There are different kinds of them, and these kind of bonuses only can be gotten from administrative guys. So if, for example, you want a national tax modifier, you can only get this as an administrative guy, not from the diplomatic or the military. Furthermore, as you can see, they have different bonuses to the administrative skill. This doesn't change their basic bonus. So as you can see, this guy gives a national tax modifier plus 10%. Even if there was a level 2 guy, he would still only give 10% national tax modifier. But being level 2 means that he gives more administrative skill. Then you might ask, why would you not always hire a plus 2 guy? Well, he is way more expensive. As you can see, a level 1 guy costs 16 ducats to hire and 1 a month to keep in service, whereas the mid-level 2 guys cost way more, almost 4 times as much to hire and 4 times more a month. So let's see how much we can actually afford. Right now, with our army fully maintained and not even rooting out all of our corruption. No, it seems like that changed. Anyway, with our full maintenance on army maintenance, we are making about 6 ducats a month. So we can afford hiring some cheap guys. We can't afford hiring these expensive guys yet. So let's get some guys. I probably want tax modifier. I'm not really a fan of buying up stability with administrative points, so I'm just gonna choose this guy. Okay, in here we can choose between a diplomatic reputation or a better relations over time. Diplomatic reputation is used to gain better diplomatic agreements, so if you want an alliance but you can't really get them to sign it, well then maybe you can hire a diplomatic reputation guy and he can help you secure that alliance. Also, it helps out with your vassals and taking over land diplomatically. Relation over time, however, improves the rate at which you recover any negative relations with your different empires you have relationships with, and most importantly, it increases the rate at which you lose aggressive expansion, which is a penalty you get for taking country or provinces from other countries. This is really nice since we are going to be expanding a lot. As I said, we are going to go for 1,000 provinces, so that's a lot of expansion. So getting this guy early on is a pretty good deal. And then military, only 1 guy plus 1, so we'll have to take him. Fort defense means that other people will have a harder time of taking our forts. Morale, of course, helps out with combat, and manpower helps out with getting more people to put into your army. Anyway, we'll take the plus 1 guy. Okay, then we can see here we have some truces. We can't really do anything about that. Let's go on. National decisions available. These national decisions are different things that you can take during the game. Most of them will have a requirement for enable to be taken. So you can see I can enact these 3 decisions, but all of these different ones I'm not able to do yet. So these 3 are based on me being a Muslim country. One of them is adopt the Dervsham system. By enrolling young men from newly conquered lands into service, we could increase the efficiency of our recruitment process considerably. And in order to do this, we need a ruler with military skill of at least 4 and 100 military power. And we will spend those 100 military power in order to get 10% extra manpower until the end of the game. So this is a pretty nice decision. I'm actually not sure if this is based on me being a Muslim or if it's just based on me being Ottomans, but it's an extremely nice decision, and I definitely want to be spending 100 military points on that. So let's just do that. Then we can adopt the title of Khalifa and turn our country into a caliphate. I know that this doesn't have a positive ring these days, but it definitely makes sense in game terms, so let's do that. It'll give us some extra prestige, and it'll give us some extra piety. Let's return to that piety in just a moment. Denouncement of sect practices is condemning any form of sect practices and declare all protectioners heretics. This has to do with Sunni the Islam faith, that the different types of Islamic faith, we can look at the religious map, we have Sunni and Shia, are kind of called sects of Islam. And by saying that we denounce sect practices, we are saying that other types of Islam are not allowed in our country. And it gives us a bonus of -1 national arrest, which will help with preventing rebels from spawning, and it will also give us 10 piety. So let's just do that. Okay. Then another thing that also happens in this menu, and that we also have a warning about, is missions. You will always have up to 3 missions available. Usually they have a mix of generic missions that are available to everyone, and special missions that are available to only your country or only your idea groups or country or religious group or something like that. We have 3 missions available. We can try to improve our prestige. We have to get 50 prestige. We can gain that by a bunch of different things, among others going to war, and if we do that we'll get 1 stability. We can also try to get Crimea's opinion up to 100, which will give us 25 diplomatic power and some prestige. Or, this is a really good one, City of the World's Desire. This is a special one for us being Ottoman, and it's to do with Constantinople. We need to conquer Constantinople, and if we do that we get 1 plus in legitimacy. So that by itself is not that great. As you can see, we already have 100 legitimacy, but we are gonna get a free claim on Constantinople for doing this, and being Ottomans, there's a nice decision later on if we get Constantinople conquered, so I'll be taking this. Then I promised you to talk about piety, and piety has to do with the Sunni faith. All of the different faiths or religions in Europa Universalis have different mechanic systems to govern them, and if you've played the game before, you've probably tried one of the Catholic countries, and the Catholic countries of course have the Pope. The Sunni have the piety, and piety basically is how devout are you. If you have positive piety, you get bonuses to missionary strength, morale of armies, and fort defense. If you have negative piety, you gain bonuses to tax, manpower, and technology cost. And this is on a slider, so you get a percentage of the total bonus. So we are at 30 piety, so we get 30% of the maximum bonus. Then we have another thing here that we need to worry about, called religious unity. Religious unity is the number that represents how it's kind of self-explanatory how unified your religions in your country is. And as you can see, most of Anatolia here is Muslim, but all of these Baltic states that we have are all Orthodox, so they are ruining our religious unity. So what can we do about this? Yeah, we can send our missionaries to convert them, and let's do that. Let's send a missionary to Vidin. By the way, it'll take him 41 months to do it, and it will cost some money. Let's go and check that out. It will cost us 0.41 gold a month, but that's fair enough. I want to get rid of all of those provinces that are not Sunni, so we'll do that. And now only 1 flag remains that we haven't checked out. It is a new one, and it says that we have a claim on Constantinople. Claims are important in this game because you cannot just go to war as you please. You need a casus belli, which translates into a reason to go to war. A claim is one of those. If you have a claim on another country, you can declare a war called we can't do it because we don't have a diplomat, but you can do a conquest war. But we'll come back to this in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, consider hitting the like button and subscribing. Hope to see you in the next video, and until then, have a good day.